This is homework for Tuesday the 27th. Tonight we're going to switch gears just a little bit. You've been doing a lot of work with solving equations and solving inequalities. And now I'm going to start asking you to be able to write your own equation from a word problem and then to be able to solve that equation. I'm going to ask you to really try your hardest to write an equation for each of these. It's perfectly okay to use the video to help you, but make sure that when you look at the equation that I wrote, that you then compare it back to the words and you understand where everything is coming from. And then same thing when you solve it. Make sure you understand what we're doing to solve that equation. Okay, so here we go with number 1. Jason bought 4 new baseball trading cards to add to his collection. The next day, his dog ate half of his collection. There are now only 42 cards left. How many cards did Jason start with? So I want you to read that to yourself a couple times. Pause the video, and when you think you have an equation, so you've got a variable, you've got some numbers, you've got an equal sign, then I want you to go ahead and turn the video back on and check to make sure that you have the right equation. Okay, so the first thing is, the thing I don't know about in this case is his collection. And I'm just going to go back and show you here. It says he bought 4 new trading cards to add to his collection. But we don't know how much was in his collection before he added the 4. So that's what we're trying to figure out here. How many was in his collection before he added the 4? So when you do this, when you write x is equal to his collection, it's called defining the variable. You're telling me that x stands for the number of cards that were in his collection. Okay, so now let's make that into an equation. He took his collection, however many that was, and he added 4. And then it said that his dog ate half of them. So after he took his collection and added 4, then at that point his dog ate half. So that means I'm dividing his collection in 2. Okay, and then there were 42 left. So this is the equation that represents the story problem. Make sure you understand why. Now I want you to pause the video, and then I want you to solve this. Remember, the first thing you have to do is get rid of this divided by 2. Pause the video and try to solve it. So to get rid of being divided by 2, I have to multiply both sides of this equation by 2, or 2 over 1. 2 and 2 over 1 are equal to each other. Okay, so when I do that here, this 2 divided by this 2 is equal to 1, and 1 times x over 4 is x over 4. So this cancels, and all I have left is x plus 4. Okay, because 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 1 times x over 4 is x over 4. Over here, if you do 2 times 42, you're going to get 84. You have one more step left. Now we have to subtract 4, and subtract 4 again. 80 equals x. Now let's just see if that fits the situation. So as I go back, if he had 80 cards and he added 4 more cards, then he would have 84 cards. The next day his dog ate half his collection. Half of 84 is 42. There's 42 left. So I know that what I did works for this situation. Okay, let's go to the next one. Keith sold half of his comic books and then bought 8 more. He now has 18. How many did he begin with? So again, you're going to pause the video. You're going to try to come up with an equation. You need a variable, number, and equal sign. And then once you've tried to come up with the equation on your own, turn the video back on, and see if your equation matches mine. In this case, the thing I don't know about is how many comic books he had before he sold half of his comic books. So I said x equals the number of comic books that he had in the beginning. That's how I'm defining my variable. This part should be on your paper as well. I always want to see this. Well, it said that he took his comic books and he sold half of them. So however many he had, he sold half. Well, that's the same as taking this number and dividing it by 2. And then it said that he bought 8 more, and then he now has 18. So this is the equation for this situation. So what thing do you get rid of first? Are you going to get rid of this 2 first or this 8 first? Go ahead and stop the video and try to complete this on your own, then turn it back on and make sure you have the correct answer. Okay, so here we have to first get rid of this 8 on both sides, because we always get rid of addition and subtraction first. Okay, well these cancel. Cancel that out. And 18 take away 8 is going to be 10. And so I still have x over 2. Now, I already know from the first problem that whenever I have this divided by 2, that the opposite of dividing by 2 is to multiply by 2. So to get rid of my 2 here, I'm going to multiply by 2 here. And of course, I'm going to multiply by 2 here. Remember, these cancel. 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 1 times x is x. And over here, 10 times 2 is 20. And now let's make sure this fits again. So it says that he had a comic book collection, and I say that the number was 20. He sold half of them, so now he only has 10. And then he bought 8, and he now has 18. And that works because 10 plus 8 is 18 if he started with 20 before he sold half. Okay, this is going to be the third and the last problem for today. I'm giving you fewer problems because I really want you to think so that when you have to set these up all by yourself, you can do it. It just takes a little bit of practice. So on Monday, 197 students went on a trip to the zoo. All 4 buses were filled, and 5 students had to travel in cars. How many students were in each bus? Now I'm just going to tell you right away, the way you're going to define your variable is the number of students that were in each bus. That's what your variable is representing, the number of students in each bus. So turn the video off, see if you can come up with an equation, and then turn it back on and check it with mine. Okay, so I already know that x is supposed to represent the number of students on each bus. And I know that there were 4 buses. So if I multiplied 4 times however many students were on each bus, and I add the 5 that had to just take cars, it's going to be equal to 197 because that's how many students they said there were. So my equation is 4x plus 5 equals 197. So here I'm going to ask you to turn the video off again, solve this equation, and then turn it back on and check and make sure you're correct. Okay, so always get rid of addition and subtraction first. So I'm zeroing out this plus 5 by subtracting 5 on both sides. Of course, this cancels. This is 192 for x. And then the opposite of multiplication is division. And so I'm going to end up dividing on both sides by 4. And 4 divided by 4 is 1, so I just have an x. And 192 divided by 4 is 48. That means that each bus had 48 students on it. So if we check this again, I know that there were 4 buses, and each bus had 48 students, so 4 times 48 is 192, plus the 5 students who went in cars equals 197, And so again, it fits this problem. Okay, that's all for tonight.